The card on the bottom of the deck, we see Awakening. This card represents kind of taking a pause, but this is about seeing things in a new way, getting clarity on something. The emphasis here is really about looking at things from a different perspective, temporary standstill, and how important it is to be yourself. There's a lot of energies coming into play in your life, in your relationships with other people, in your goals and ambitions. And it's really important that you stay true to yourself and not let other people sway you off of your path. There's a lot of personalities out there, and everybody's got a good opinion for how you should. Well, just remember, like they say in AA and NA, don't should yourself to death. Stay true to yourself. Allow your emotions in part to be a compass for you. If something feels uncomfortable for you to do, examine why you feel uncomfortable with that. See if there's a lesson there and which path it feels better for you, or it resonates more clearly, or seems more consistent with who you are and your best self, what resonates with your best self, let's say. But I do want to put this aside for a bit, and it may come up again as I unpack some of these other cards, kind of get to what they're doing. This card indicates that you have experienced some kind of a victory, a success, maybe public recognition in a way, good news. This is somebody who's riding home from battle, and they have their flags flying high. In some decks, they're wearing a laurel wreath, the laurel being symbolic of victory. Warriors used to wear a laurel wreath to signify as they were riding into town that they had been successful in battle. It was kind of a heads up, a news broadcast before returning soldiers. It also helped reduce some of the panic and the concern about what the news might be when the warriors were returning from battle. So at any rate, it looks like you have been successful in some pursuit. I remember from the last reading that we did, some of you were thinking about some new areas of expansion, things that you could do, ways that you could grow as an individual, branching out, possible entrepreneurship, new projects, new ventures, community involvement, whatever that looks like. And this looks like you're succeeding, and you're being praised and honored by other people as a result of it. 6 is a suit of fire. We do have a lot of fire in your present tense and your immediate past. Crossing you, basically an energy that's coming into play. This is the King of Fire, and King of Fire can be Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius. Typically an adult, could be a father figure, could be a husband, a boss. This could be yourself, whatever your sex is. This would just be someone who's ambitious and driven, and they have good energy, kind of high energy, not frantic or something, but they have a good positive activity level. They're passionate about things, and they know how to put their passion into action. They can make things manifest. They have ideas, and they're good at implementing those ideas, making them happen. So this could be you in this new role as victor, riding home from your success, whatever that is. This could be you riding into that role as the King of Fire, which is not bad because, as you're a water sign, it could be for a lot of you that you are balancing out your natural water energy with some type of passion, and you're able to direct that energy into something and manifest it. So that's really, really good. For others of you, it could be that something you've been trying for a while, you are having somebody come into your life that could be that fire sign for you, male or female. But somebody who's, a capable person who is the adult in charge. I kind of want to put it that way, as opposed to somebody who may have a youthful, playful energy but not be serious. This is somebody who is loyal and respectful and is not a fly-by-night person. They are somebody who's steady, and you can depend on them. Maybe not in the same way as an earth sign, but they can follow through on whatever that is that they want to do. Now, kind of on your mind, you've had this intuition type energy or activity, right? This is about kind of knowing in your gut when something is right or something is wrong for you. understanding what that means. You do want to consider carefully anything before you act upon it, but just taking this here with this laurel wreath energy, this victor energy, this can indicate excuse me, a focus on following your gut and staying true to yourself. And if you are having victory in one area of your life, it definitely could be because you have been following your intuition. For some of you, you may have it in your mind that you want to develop your intuition more. Maybe there's something that you want to be doing on that level, some sort of intuitive healing art or other pursuit that you may find interesting. Okay, so take it as it resonates. Excuse me. High Priestess is associated with the moon, and the moon is your planetary ruler, Cancer, so you're very at home in that High Priestess energy. Now, beneath you, we have the Eight of Fire, and again, this is passion. This is energy coming in, communication, lots of emails, lots of energy, lots of people, lots of possibly travel. This can be anything like that exposes you to lots of new people, pursuits, passions, ideas, that sort of thing. This is kind of the basis of this situation. There's been a lot going on, but it seems like you've been successful in managing that. In fact, you've had some degree of mastery over all of this that's coming in, or someone near you has been, and you've had a successful partnership, which is why you've been victorious. Perhaps something you're passionate about, an entrepreneurial exercise that you've been engaged in has become successful for you, and you're seeing some gain in that area. Now, in the recent past, we have the Five of Fire, and this is about competing goals, bothersome details, and conflict with others, to read the keynote on the bottom. Five of Fire is kind of like a lot of personalities, and everybody has a separate opinion or two to bring into the fray. So, it's that idea of, 5 people, 6 opinions, so there's been some of this, but you have been successful in bringing these competing energies together for a deal of success. You'll note too the progression. You're moving from this Five of Fire contentious kind of energy to a victory. Basically, you got what you wanted, and it may have been that you smoothed some ruffled feathers or egos along the way. Or possibly the King of Fire, if it's not representing you, could have had a role in smoothing these temperaments. Now, in your immediate future to come is the Ten of Earth, and this is about material success, happy family life, and financial security, finding magic in the little things of life. This is really about having a strong, solid material foundation. And again, this could be that this business, this entrepreneurial experience, whatever that is that you're seeking to create and to build, is bringing you into a higher level of prosperity. For some of you, if that's not the case, it may be that you're finding that you do have a stable home and family life, a stable financial life because of your partnership with someone, and that you are able to continue to build and expand and grow in these other areas from a level of safety, for example, or a security, I guess. Now, the card representing you right now is the Ego card. So this reminds us not to build things on a sense of ego, what's in it for me, what's driving me. It's thinking about the higher good in putting something out there, and not thinking about how it's going to go down, right? Not worrying about how many clicks you get on your website, not worrying about who is praising or lauding you. One of the downsides of success or victory is that sometimes people become focused on the praise and not on the product. So this may be a place where you need to check that. Because one thing, if your ego is in charge, your High Priestess energy cannot be. And don't think you can't tap into some High Priestess energy if you're male either, by the way, because it's intuition, and everyone has access to that. It's yin yang. And each of us have elements of the divine masculine and divine feminine within us. So it's possible. But these are going to be at odds because your High Priestess, your intuition shuts down when your ego and your selfish place comes to the foreground. This is where we have negativity, fear-based thoughts, worries and concerns. We're more interested in the praise than the product. When we can check our ego and say, it doesn't matter, I'm doing for the good. I'm creating a product, good, or service that is something that can help people or benefit their lives in some kind of way. We're focusing on our service to other people. Checking that ego enables you to tap into source energy and your higher self, your wiser self as well, to say, how do I do this? Right? How do I bring forward my best product, good, or service? And not get caught up, right? Ego's a hard lesson to learn, and it's part of our human nature. Ego gives us enough selfishness that we can fight for scraps from the food, if we're hungry, or that we can ensure our survival. But when it gets out of hand sometimes is when we get caught up in the wrong things. We get caught up on the things that gratify our selfishness. And that's when we find that it's out of balance. Now, ego can happen to any person and every person. And I would seriously think that every person's been through that at some point in his or her life. But it is something that we do kind of have to rein in order to tap into that intuition better. Now, 5 of water, things not turning out the way you'd hoped or not seeing the positive in a situation, crying over spilled milk. This is kind of seeing the negative in a situation and not seeing the positive, right? You're focusing on what has overturned that you don't see the 2 cups here. And the 2 of cups or 2 of water is a soulmate type relationship. It's about soul and spiritual development, positivity. This is the environment, how others in the environment see you or how your work goes into the environment. And this is going to be related to your ego trip. Check your ego. If people praise you, it's easy to fall, to seek the praise, right? The flip side of that is that if somebody says something negative about you, you're more likely to take it seriously as well. But it still is fruit from the same tree, right? It's nicer to hear kind things about us. But if we take to heart the kind things people say to us and we allow it to stroke our ego, we're far more likely to take the negative things that they say to us. And then we get angry and resentful and we try to control other people, places, and things that are beyond our ability to control. And a power imbalance in our own life, a belief that we can control things that we cannot control, that's a huge source of unhappiness for a lot of people. In fact, it's the very thing that abusive relationships even come from. And I'm not saying anyone there is being abusive at all. I don't mean that. But if you really look at like domestic violence situations, isn't that about one person trying to have control over the behaviors, the thoughts of someone else? What someone else thinks, says, or does. And that's impossible. That's an impossible situation. No one can control that. You can control what you think, say, or do, not the other way around. So we do have to be very careful how we frame the story that we find ourselves in and know that we are the author of the story. So if we don't like the story that we're in, we can change it. We may not be able to change past circumstances, but we can certainly alter the way we look at past circumstances, the way we talk to ourselves about past circumstances. Everything is a learning opportunity. It's just about thinking of it in a creative enough way with an ego check to say, yeah, sometimes I act like an ass. I get it. It's okay though. It's okay because I'm learning and I never have to do the same mistake twice if I catch on that I'm doing something, right? Now, hopes and fears over here, we have the 7 of water, which indicates that there's some kind of decision or a series of choices that you have the options for these things. Now, some of them, really, we can see better than others. Some appear to be closer than others. Some are further off. We're not really sure what's going on within any of these cups because we don't know the outcome of either of those choices. But in this case, we're going to need to follow our gut. You hope to have a lot of choices, but in a sense, you fear that too. It's like if there's only one option, either staying exactly the same or moving towards a direction of change that seems interesting or possibly beneficial to you, that's an easy choice to make, relatively speaking. But when there's a lot of different options and you don't have the ability to see clearly about what those choices are going to result in, it can be very, very confusing what to do. So try to be patient with yourself when you're doing that. Remember what is ultimately important to you, what your mission statement is, I suppose, and that's going to help you reel in some of these internal energies and insecurities that can be with the ego strength. Not letting things go to your head, allowing you to tap into your intuition. What do you really want, and what was the reason you got into this project or this endeavor that you wanted to get into? What was the reason behind that? And when we win an argument, is it to get something over on somebody else, or is it because our position's really the wisest choice to make in the circumstance? And can we be okay with the fact that we won that without having that, I won kind of atmosphere? Can we allow the other person, when we are the victor in a situation, when we're coming out of the squabble or argument with someone, can we allow them, as the loser of the temporary battle, can we allow them dignity when they walk away from that situation? That allows them to save a little face, because their ego's butthurt, right? Then we have our final outcome, which is Knight of Air. Knight of Air is about things coming very quickly. This kind of ties back in with this Eight of Fire. Things are coming in quickly. Passion, energy, communication, etc. With the Knight of Air, be careful that you're reviewing and you understand where you're coming from. This is extremely important to make these choices with the checked ego, because you want to tap into your intuition. Your intuition allows you to think on your feet and make the best decision when you have very limited information to go on. In spite of all this information, because again, it's kind of competing. As much communication is coming in, it may, in a sense, also convey some of these multiple choice option things that you've got. And that can be daunting, to say the least. Now, Knight of Air could be possibly Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius. Somebody young, somebody who's coming in, speaks the truth, sometimes possibly a little bit too bluntly. But it's not that serious either. I mean, you have had a victory. You've got all of this coming in, fast-moving energy, but you also have this financial stability and success and happy family life in your future. So my guess is that whatever this venture is, it's going to be very positive for you. You have solid helpmates and friends that are looking into this to help all of this move forward for you. But if this person has a tendency to say things a little too bluntly for you, again, check that ego. What is at the heart of what that person is saying? And don't allow that to throw you off your path, because you really do have a good phase coming up here. And you've been in a good phase, really. This has been a good period of your life from how this looks. And tying this back to our awakening card here, seeing things from a different perspective is exactly what ego can teach us. Because when we say, wait a minute, I don't have to take that comment or statement personally that they said. What if I give that person the benefit of the doubt, or just assume that they're kind of brash? They're coming in there and they might not have been able to soft soap that, or maybe they just have poor social skills, whatever the case may be. But I'm learning this in a new way, and I don't have to give my power to someone else by putting too much weight in their offenses, whatever they may be. Now, given this isn't feeling to me like it's a huge serious offense. This seems to me like just some of that social grind that we have to deal with when people are people. This doesn't seem like a very heavy or very toxic issue for me. For some of you, it possibly could be, but again, that's not the general overview that I'm getting. So, if you do have problems, of course, it's seek out a therapist, seek out a doctor, seek out a lawyer, whatever that is, based on the issue. But this really does seem to me just, again, some of that social grind when you got a lot of personalities, some 7 billion plus people on the planet, and we're all just trying to do our own thing and take care of our families and our lives. So you may hear me shuffling, and I am getting into the Healing with the Angels Oracle cards by Doreen Virtue. The previous deck I was working with was Angel Tarot cards by Doreen Virtue and Radley Valentine. So let me shuffle these. Oh, we had a jumper. So I do like to go with those. Because I'm telling you, when I take out these jumpers, it's almost like there's an angel standing at my elbow who's knocking these cards out. Because some of them are just, I shouldn't say some of them, really all of them have been so spot on. Okay. Answered prayer. Fear not, beloved one. Your prayers have been heard and answered. All of your prayers are always answered. Sometimes you may not feel this way because the answer comes in unexpected ways. Perhaps you receive an intuitive feeling, or a new opportunity appears, or a book falls off the shelf. The angels answer our prayers very often by giving us ideas or information in these everyday ways. By drawing this card, the angels request that you be extra observant. Notice everything that you hear, say, think, and feel. Be especially alert to help that comes to you, and be sure to accept that help. You do deserve this assistance, and many times God enlists people to act as earth angels who bring you answers to your prayers. In fact, if this desire to develop your intuition has been one of your prayers, it's going to be answered. And they just now told you exactly how to go about doing that. Pay attention to the signs and signals that you're receiving from the universe. Your prayers will be answered. And from some of these cards right down here, the ones that represent your present tense and your recent past, it looks like a lot of them have been. You've been victorious. Even if you don't know it just yet, that energy is coming, including where you were hoping to get tapped into your intuition even better.